We are now recording.
All right, good deal.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the start, and then we'll just take it, kind of go through the things like we talked about and,
Okay.
play it from there.
All right,
Good
sounds
evening.
good.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
That's okay. I'm learning.
Right.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the freaking Hambone Show on the Creative Control Network. This is me, Hambone, and tonight I've got a guest from the Rad. His name is Rad Rob from the. Sorry,
That's fine.
I have to edit this. What's your podcast? I just listened to it.
It's the Rad Turtles Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah, the Rad Turtles Wrestling Podcast. And we're here to talk about some things that we're going to talk about their background, how they got into podcasting. He's a Twitch affiliate, which I think is really cool. I always find people who Twitch to be cool. And he's gotten dragged into a lot of the recent brand Matt Coon drama. So we're going to talk about all that. And it's kind of funny. I mean, before I throw it to him, it's just like amazing to me how I always encounter new people and seem to meet new friends when somebody does something to me on social media. Like, what happened to me with somebody else last year, I'm not going to name. And now this stuff with Matt Coon attacking all these people. And it's like it brings me new connections, which is fascinating. I mean, it backfires and all over such silly, petty stuff a lot of times. How are you tonight, Ryan, Rob?
I'm doing good, Hambone, man. How are you doing?
Very good, very good. I'm excited. Glad you made time to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, it's been a crazy whirlwind week. And the whole reason I'm here to begin with is because of Matt Coon. If Matt Coon didn't blast me on Twitter, I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't know the Grapplers. I wouldn't know, I wouldn't have all this exposure. So thankfully, since he's such a dumbass, I get to reap the rewards of him, doing so. So I'm having fun. I mean, my phone blows up on Twitter every day. The Grapplers and everybody else and Bang Biscuit and everybody just freaking tags me and everything. So every half hour I got to clear my phone out because I got about 75 Twitter notifications. But
right.
Yeah, let me. I guess I'll tell you how this all started. I'll read you the original tweet that I sent to Vince and Matt Coon.
Okay.
I know you remember they were going back and forth with Jeff Lane.
Right. Super Bowl Sunday explosion.
Right. And then they were going back and forth against each other, and even on the show sometimes they argue with each other a lot. And all I mentioned was I said I don't know what the fuck's going on. I stopped listening for a few weeks and see all these tweets lately. I'll tell you one thing. None of this makes me want to listen to any of it. It's not worth the time. Think about that as you both show your asses publicly. You're turning peeps off. Now, was I a little bit harsh about that? Maybe. I mean, I could have worded it differently, but It was simply just an observation that I was making that, there's people that don't even know what the situation is, and they're going to, that might just like Vince or whoever, and they see those tweets and they see them arguing back and forth. Well, why would they listen to the show? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't like arguments and confrontation. It might trigger their anxiety or whatever. You never know. I mean, everybody's different.
Oh, absolutely.
So that being said, Matt Coon initially tweeted me back, and it was actually like about 5 minutes later. He said, "Teach me more, oh great, quote, Rad Rob Gaming, of the promotional expertise that led you to 228 followers in 8 years. I yield to your experience and obviously meteoric success."
Unbelievable.
Right?
So pompous. I mean, I think you made a good observation. A lot of people think that the fighting between him, Jeff, Matt, Jeff, Vince, all that stuff is bad, and it looks bad for their business, and people get tired of that crap.
Right. Now, whether they're working everybody or not, I mean, that's besides the point. There's a lot of people that don't know the difference between a work and a shoot.
Right.
So, I mean, and for him to actually go to my page and see how many followers I have, because that's the only insult he can throw back at me. Instead of saying, "Hey, man, I appreciate what you said. I'll take the, do advisement. I appreciate I appreciate your observation or whatever." No, but he takes, he takes the low road and just insults me for no reason. He doesn't even know anything about me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, same thing with me. I mean, he blocked me because I had a guest he doesn't like. He blocked me because I interviewed Grappler 6, who you've also interviewed.
Yes.
And he he accused me of being a parody account that I'm not, all because of that interview. And I mean,
Right.
because that guy messaged me saying like, "Hey, he blocked me because he's saying I'm you," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "You're like."
How does he not know the difference between you and the parody accounts? Everybody knows who the parody accounts are. There's Fat Coon, there's Matty Cocoon, there's
Yeah.
Matt Coom with an M. I mean, it's obvious you can tell who the parodies are.
Yeah, this was a different account. This was an account that makes fun of Kevin Gill, if you know who he
Oh,
is.
okay. I got you.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah, he
all right. Never
thought I
mind.
was
Okay,
in.
I got you.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
there's
I can see
Twitter,
that.
the brand and Keeping It 100 have hundreds of parody troll accounts,
Right,
anonymous
right.
accounts.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was telling Whole Foods that it was me, and I provided the grapplers with a platform to spread their hate and homophobia and all this other
Oh,
crap. I'm like, one of my best friends in the world is an LGBTQ female,
yeah.
and I'll never have anybody on my show like that. And I didn't even get a chance to talk to him because he blocked me on everything. So I was just like, I'm done
Right,
with you. You're not going to snoop on my stuff. Block.
right. Yeah, I mean that's just ridiculous. So after he tweeted that to me, I had responded back. For you to put me down, Matt, when you clearly know nothing about me, proves my point exactly. All I did was make an observation to let you know that your public bickering is turning people off. You don't know me, man, but you just insulted me, and for what? Do you feel good? I said, do you feel good now? And then he responded back, yeah, I feel great. Thanks, Rob. And then he blocked me.
So arrogant. That's how he does. He seems so arrogant. He
Yeah,
seems so rude. He acts like he's better than everybody. And I mean,
yeah.
really, he's just a bully, just like me. I mean, he doesn't know me. I've never talked to him. I think I had like one DM conversation with him at the
Hmm.
beginning and said something like, "Good luck. You all did a good job at StarCast," because I saw him at StarCast, but I never
Right.
spoke to him. And how do you know what I am or am not doing just based off of that? I mean, and I pretty
Yeah.
much left you alone, and I was indifferent to him and a lot of the stuff with the grapplers and other people he's feuded with until he went
Yep.
off on Jeff Lane and started going after all these other people. Like I started seeing all these notifications and all these people tweeting about Matt Coon said this to me, Matt Coon did that to me, and I'm like, what's this dude's problem? He's turning off his biggest potential audience and the biggest potential way to make money.
Right.
By pissing off all these potential customers buying your stuff, buying your Patreon, all that stuff.
Yeah. And then he comes out and says, well, I'm not part of the brand, so, it's not fair for brand members to treat Vince that way and cancel the Patreon and all that. Like, dude, we're not doing it because of Vince. We're doing it because we can't stand your stupid ass. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole reason. And then Vince goes on Twitter and says, guys, you're hurting me by canceling my Patreon. I can't control what my co-host does. He doesn't have a contract with me, but we do have a contract with Westwood One or whatever, and
Right.
he can't get rid of him. But yeah, I feel bad for Vince. I really do.
Yeah,
Because
Vince has been in a very tough spot.
and he's been in a tough spot most of his life anyway. Because
Yeah,
he,
very,
he
very
comes
fair
he
point.
comes off as a little bit overbearing. If you're not from the Northeast or you don't understand like that New York kind of mentality, then yeah,
Right.
he could rub people the wrong way. But for anybody that really knows Vince, and I don't know him personally, but everything I've heard, dude's a fantastic guy. Like
He
off
is.
camera, behind the scenes, he's a super super nice guy and will literally give you the shirt off his back if you
Yeah.
need it. And
Yeah,
it's
he's been
unfortunate that
super
he's
nice.
yeah, and it's
Yeah,
unfortunate he's stuck in the middle of all this. But you know,
exactly.
it's funny because like all this, as soon as all this happens, like the grapplers came on my page and said, you guys, you have my full support of the grapplers, and
Right.
they tweeted, hey, give this guy a follow, he deserves it, FMK and
Right.
all that, you know what FMK is, but
No, I love that's so funny. I love
yeah,
their
and
creativity.
yeah, and all of a sudden my Twitter page just blew up, and I never asked for any of this. I mean, I never
Right.
cared what my numbers were and all that, and I really still don't. But I made it a joke to tweet him, even though he probably wouldn't read it. I said, "Thanks, Matt, for everything you've done. I now have 300 followers, so yeah, I appreciate all that, and my podcast numbers are going up and all that. So yeah,
Right.
thanks for everything. But yeah, without him doing that, we wouldn't even be talking right now. So I do owe him that much at least.
Right. Right. And you know what? Like I was telling one of my friends, as far as like him and the grapplers, he's had this obsession with the grapplers since I think November, December.
Yeah.
And because of him, the grapplers are like more popular than ever. They're
Hell
like,
yeah.
look, they're really becoming like the biggest baby faces I've seen in like my Twitter community right now. And
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
before Matt acted like a big jerk, he had a lot of people convinced that they were troublemakers, that they were
Yes.
bad guys. And now it's like, you know what? We were wrong about those guys because
Yeah.
Matt Coon showed his true colors and he's the problem, not them. I mean, he's obsessed with them and he puts them over. And because of them, like they're on my show, they're on your show, they're doing Durbin's show. I mean, they're doing Wrestling with Reality. It's
Yep.
just, you know, the reach they're getting is mainly because he put the exposure on them. And so it's
Right.
like, dude,
Yeah.
you should have no sold them and you'd be better off because they wouldn't be nearly as popular now.
What do you think his problem is, honestly? Do you think he has... Sometimes I think maybe he's just a character and he thinks he's in the business and he wants to be a heel or whatever, you know, kind of like Conrad does with Bruce. But
Right.
Conrad's not a dick to people publicly. Like,
Oh,
he's a dick to
Conrad's
Bruce
cool.
and he's a dick to
Yeah.
Bruce and Eric and Tony on the show. But, I mean, that's just... And he even admits, like, it's tongue-in-cheek.
Exactly.
But, like, Coon takes it to a whole new level. So either he's in character... or he has, I don't know, some kind of addiction problem or a mental health problem. I mentioned to the grapplers last night, I said, it is pretty sad. It is pretty sad if he has any kind of a mental issue or anxiety or you know, bipolarism or anything like that. Like, I feel bad for him if that's the case. Like, I really do, because that's a serious thing. But if he's purposely just if he's purposely being a pompous douchebag, you know, because he thinks he's the king, then he's going to have a hard lesson to learn. I think he's starting to learn it right now.
I think so. I mean, if it's a character, I don't understand why he would do a character that cost him money and cost him subscribers and views, because that's what that character does. I mean, I've heard a lot of rumors that, you know, like you said, that it might be a mental health issue, that it might be a combination of that and alcoholism. I've heard people say that, you know, he goes on these Twitter rampages when he gets drunk. I mean, I don't know if that's true. I just know that's what the rumor mill I've gotten from people closer to the situation and know Coon a little bit more. And then I've also heard that he just wants to go, he's on this quest about all this stuff because he's trying to change Vince's image in the mind of these dirt sheet guys who are going to probably hate Vince no matter what.
No matter what.
Wants to show them, you know, I can work with Vince and I'm not going to play into this stuff that you all hate about Russo and his followers. Yeah. I mean, I do. I think, you know, a part of it, he's getting ready for his buddies when he sees them in Vegas again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's coming up Memorial Day weekend. But I think it's a combination of things, to be quite honest. Yeah. Because it's not normal behavior to, you know, piss off your customers like that. It's not like you own Cartman Land and you're denying everybody access to Cartman Land, so more people want to get into Cartman Land. You're just making people not want to support you or any project you're involved with.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It really is bad business. I mean, number one, he's showing his ass publicly. He's kind of showing his true colors. Definitely. And you know, it's weird because, like, I don't know if you follow Corey Graves at all on Twitter, or if you heard what he did lately, but he kind of went on his own Twitter rampage too a couple
against
days ago.
Dixon Span, which I thought was just crazy. I saw a little bit of that here and there. I mean, they were really going at it.
And then, like, other, you know, just fans that would tweet him back, like, he just totally tore them up, like treated them like they were total crap. And so, I mean, who knows? You never know what happens if somebody gets lit up on, you know, just starts drinking or whatever and gets in a bad mood, or like I said, maybe he's bipolar. It's possible. Like, I don't know. All I know is he should at least apologize for his actions. Like, if he happened to go on a drunk rampage or whatever reason it is, like once he snaps out of whatever mood or situation he's in, he should at least apologize. But he doesn't. He just blocks anybody that opposes him. Like he's a snowflake. Like he can dish it out, but he can't take it.
Exactly. That's like the ultimate version of a snowflake. You know, they dish it out, they can't take it, but he dishes it out and he keeps going on these rampages. You know, like he blocked Mike Durbin because he accused Mike Durbin of having somebody on his show who might be a grappler. And I mean, it's like, well, Matt, if that person really was a grappler, I don't know who's being referred to. Shouldn't you be happy that person was on the show without their mask? I thought that's what you
Right.
wanted all along. So why
Yeah.
do you care? I mean, just stupid stuff. It's like I told some people, and I think you may have seen it. I think he looks up his name all the time to see what
Hmm.
people are saying about him. Looks up the
Yeah.
name, looks up his show on Twitter, and then it's like, oh, this person said this person did that, and then he's doing crummy crap like having kids read mean tweets about him on his new show, which I think's very poor taste.
And
I
yeah.
wouldn't want my kid involved in that crap.
No, I wouldn't, and I haven't even listened to it yet, and
Yeah.
I have no desire to listen to it.
Yeah, I'd listened to the very beginning, and then I listened to that. I wanted to hear how he did the thing with the kids, and I
Yeah.
mean, it was just like bad, and the entrance music and all that was just very like egotistical. I'll say, like some
That,
maniac who wrote it.
yeah, I mean that's horrible. That is in poor
Yeah.
taste. And honestly, I didn't listen to it because number one, I don't want I can't stand to hear his voice, and number
Right.
two, I don't want to give him the traffic or the downloads at all. So I don't even want to give him that attention. And to me, I'm done with it. He blocked me. I mean, I have nothing else to say about him.
Right.
You know, I mean, we'll carry it on, you know, with the grapplers and all that. I mean,
Yeah.
and you know, the parody accounts and like Matty Cocoon just he cracks me up every single day about
There's three of them. Yeah.
fat shaming and you know like just all this kind of different shaming and stuff like that. Like, it's so funny. I don't know who does it, but whoever it is, it's freaking hilarious. But you know, I'm glad this all happened because now I'm getting it. I'm going to benefit from all this.
You are.
Whether-
You're getting
whether
a
it was
lot more
my
exposure.
Right, whether it was my
Yeah.
intention or not, yeah, of course I'm going to capitalize on that. I'm not stupid. I'm a businessman. You know what I mean? Like he's going to give me the added attention. I'm going to take the ball and run, and I'm going to run all the way to the end zone. So I mean, I'm
Exactly
loving it.
what I did. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly
Why not?
what I did. Yeah, I mean, just like that's the only reason I had a grapplers on in the first place. I planned to invite him on, but not just this soon. But when I saw all the stuff going on with him, I'm like, they have a good perspective. People like to hear him, so I'm going to bring him on, and boom, and then he brings more attention to it for coming at me because I had him on. And now, like, I've gotten a lot more friends on and, you know, follows on Twitter all because of him. So it's like everybody, you know, all these little people, you know, in the small market of podcasting and Twitter are really benefiting from the attacks and the nonsense he's thrown people's way.
Yeah. And it's funny because, you know, my buddy Jeff and I, he's my co-host on the podcast. You know, we just started this as, you know, just for the hell of it. We met through Twitch in someone else's stream. We're big into the like the Super Mario community, so there's a lot of different there's a lot of different Super Mario streamers and all that. And we just happened to hit it off and talk off stream and found out that we're both wrestling fans. And we said, hey, do you want to start a podcast? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? And then we just did it. And our motto is just two fat guys talking wrestling. So, you know, it's just, you know, we're just two down to earth guys, just two buddies that like to get together. And God, we could talk forever. Some of our shows go 3-4 hours long, and I have to edit half of it. So I mean, like, you know, we just love to get together and talk wrestling. We have such a good chemistry, and I've only known him for a few months, and it's just it's crazy how it just all came together. So regardless of everything that happened, we'd still be doing it for fun. I mean, we never had any intention to make money off it or not, but you know, with all this added exposure, we're starting to get more downloads and all that, and I'm sure you probably have too. So, you know, it's this community. This I don't want to call it the internet wrestling community because I really hate that term, but I don't know what to call it. Whatever group that we have that follows each other and follows the brand or the brand members are all, I mean, we all take care of each other. We all watch each other's backs. You know, if somebody jumps on you, then, you know, I'm going to jump on them and everybody else. And just, it was so cool to see people that don't even know me have my back for no reason.
Oh, yeah,
you know,
same here. Just amazing. Like, I just tweeted, you know, Matt Coon blocked me for having a grappler on, and my Twitter blew up, and I had so many more followers since then. And I'm like, it really doesn't bother me that much, but I know people are going to pay attention to it right now. And, you know, having guests on to discuss that stuff because people want to hear the perspectives of all the stories of all the how like you and I and others got involved into this feud and all the, you know, and I had even unfollowed Matt when all this stuff started with Jeff because I just didn't want any part of it. And then he brings me into it anyway. So I think it's hilarious.
And I didn't even know who the grapplers were, or I didn't even know who Jeff Lane was. I'm not a member of the brand. I listen to Truth and Consequences because I like Vince.
Right.
I never thought Kuhn was. I mean, and not to bash him, but honest truth, I never thought he was that great of a host. I think he's a Conrad Thompson wannabe, as everybody
He
probably
is.
else
He
thinks
is.
too.
Everything. It seems to be ripped off of Conrad or
Yeah,
somebody else that he
yeah,
does. Just like he even went as far as to rip off the grappler's shirt. I don't know. Did you
oh
hear
God,
about that? Yeah, he
that is
ripped off their
ridiculous.
shirt,
Yeah,
which is
that.
just
Yeah.
totally ridiculous.
Yeah, and they screenshotted when they initially posted it first, well before he did, showing that I'm like, you took our design, dude. Like, he doesn't care. Like, he's just, I don't know, God, he's just that pompous and
Yeah,
arrogant. Like, he can do whatever he wants and have no repercussions from it. But karma's a bitch, man. You know that. Like, it's gonna come back to him at some point, and it's
I think
starting
so.
now. But I mean, we're not done yet. Like, there's a whole community that are on each other's side and watch each other's backs. They're totally anti Matt Coon, and he hasn't seen anything yet. Like
I agree with
this is
that.
far from over. And whether or
Right.
not he sees it or not, I mean, like you said, he probably does. He might have other accounts that he creates to where he can keep on. It's funny. I
Because
found
I
out that
know
he
four now. Yeah.
right. It's funny. I found out that he had his total engagement Twitter page that he just created for his new show, which
Right.
so I tweeted that account and said, "Hey Matt, I just found out you got this page. You might want to block me on this one too." He goes, "Okay, Rob, thanks. Have a great day." And he blocked me off of that one too. So yeah,
That's
I purposely trolled him, but he blocked me from that. So I'm now blocked from all his pages. But it's not right to block somebody from the Truth or Consequences page because that's also Vince's account. I mean,
I agree.
Matt might run it, but that's not fair to Vince either. Like I should be able
Exactly.
to keep up with the show and watch their tweets, but he took it upon himself to just be jealous and petty, and then blocked me and you or whoever else from that page
Exactly.
as well. So I mean, it just dude's got a serious problem, and
Exactly.
you know,
It's more than just you. You wouldn't have any of that stuff without
yeah,
Conrad,
right,
Vince, Robbie E. I
yeah.
mean, Pritchard, Shivani, you
Everybody
wouldn't
put
be
him over.
anywhere. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Everybody put him over, and I thought he was cool in the beginning. Like I liked his theme song for what happened when. I thought it was
Yes,
pretty
that's
catchy,
great
and
work. Yeah, great work.
I like some of his ad, his promo work and stuff, and some of the things
Yeah,
he did.
some funny ads he did for those
Yeah,
guys when he worked for
right.
them. Yeah.
But then once that Truth or Consequences came out, I'm like, well, it's kind of cool. I mean, I'd like to hear Vince's take on the Montreal Screwjob or what happened in TNA or why he left WWE and all that. So it's like
Right.
I like hearing the behind the scenes stories from somebody because he's a very compelling guy.
Oh
Like him or
yeah,
not,
yeah.
I mean, like or hate or you're just indifferent to him, he has a lot to say. Whether you believe him or not is one thing, but he's still an engaging personality. He's very charismatic
Yes.
and he's always going to be controversial, and I kind of like that. That's why I listen to Bischoff too, because you never know what they're going to say.
Right.
But I thought Matt literally brought nothing to the table. I thought he was holding that show back.
That's what it seems to me, the
Yeah.
feedback I'm getting. And I think, like I said on another show, I think that Vince is going to have more problems with him. I think there's going to be more outbursts, more, lashing out at fans. So I think that Vince has gotten him to kind of, calm down for the moment, but I don't think it's going to last, this truce.
Yeah,
He'll
I don't
keep,
think so either. I think
yeah,
they're just oil and water, man. They just don't mix, and eventually something's
exactly.
gonna explode. And I don't know if there's anything they can do legally to get out of it, but um,
I just think Vince could call Westwood one and say, you know what, get him off there. I'll find another host who can help me with this.
yeah, you'd think he would carry enough weight and have enough stroke to be able to do that,
Yeah,
and I think he could. It just depends if he wants to. I don't know what their relationship is like behind the
right.
scenes, so you
Vince
know,
probably feels that honoring the contract is the right thing to do because Vince has seen people hurt him so many times. I think that's what it plays into because I know Vince and I know that Vince has been hurt many, many times. And, Vince tries to be very sensitive to others in that regard.
yeah. Yeah, I agree. So, and it's unfortunate. I remember, I think
Yeah,
he tweeted out last week and said, guys, please just stop tweeting me about Matt Coon. Like, I have no
right.
control over what he does. I'm not his father. I'm
Yeah,
not his babysitter. There's nothing I can do about it. Just please, I'm so sick of seeing this. Just stop tagging me in all your tweets and all that. And, it is unfortunate because I'm sure he's got thousands and thousands of tweets of get
oh,
rid
every
of him
day.
and we're getting rid of Patreon. If you don't get rid of
Yeah.
him, we're dumping you. We're canceling the brand and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, he's not part of the brand. You're going to do that. You're hurting me. Well, I mean, it just. He's guilty by association.
You're right. Regardless of how his intentions or, if he has nothing to do with it, he's associated with it.
Right. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. But like I said, we're all going to reap the benefits because of his dumbass. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's
He's
all that
making
matters.
he's making all of us all kinds of potential viewers, followers, supporters, potentially money. I mean, it really is crazy. How did you get into Twitch? Like, what made you decide, I mean, to get into Twitch and build yourself up? Because, I mean, I
Uh,
always find that interesting,
yeah.
people with Twitch.
I've always been a gamer my whole life, ever since I was a kid. I'm
Yeah.
in my 40s, so I grew up with Atari and all that, and then
Oh, yeah.
when Nintendo first came out in the mid 80s, like that was like the biggest thing, like
Oh, yeah.
the greatest
Nintendo,
thing ever. You
Super
know what I mean? Yeah,
Nintendo, right.
right, all that. So I've always been a gamer, and I've since Twitch has kind of exploded. It's been around for a while, but just like the last
Hmm.
3-4 years or so, it's really taken off, and
Right.
I would just watch other people, other people's streams and chat with all the guys in stream and be part of the community. And I was a moderator for several different channels and even YouTube gaming before that kind of floundered. YouTube gaming was right up there at one point, and there's a lot of good streamers on
Hmm.
there until
Right.
Google. You know how Google is; they just completely ruined the YouTube platform
They did with
in
all their
general.
two PC and
Yeah,
just all that
right.
goofiness. Yeah.
So from there, everyone pretty much moved to Twitch. Whoever wasn't on it,
Okay.
at that point, everybody left YouTube gaming, went over to Twitch. So I just followed the guys I liked watching, and it's at some point I asked my wife. I said, I'd like to do this, and because eventually my goal is to, like everyone's goal, is to stop working, a job for a living and just try to work from home and be your own boss and work for yourself. So that
Right.
was my initial goal. I said, if it takes 1, 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it takes, I'm going to try it. So she bought me a pretty decent laptop to start with because we really couldn't afford the high gaming computers because I mean they could cost anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 or
Oh,
depending on
yeah.
what you
Yeah.
want. So
Very expensive. Yeah.
yeah, so I just started doing that, and I had some friends from the other channels that knew me, so I had a little bit of name recognition amongst the Mario community and all that. So I just started streaming Super Mario Maker, which is a game where
Oh,
anybody can
yeah.
just go in there and create their own levels and then upload them, and then you play them. So I mean, like there's endless possibilities to the game. So
Right.
that was really big right now. They just announced the sequel's coming out in June.
I
So
saw that. Yeah.
yeah,
I saw that.
so I'm excited about that. But yeah, no, I just started doing it for fun, and then I had some people, they'd throw me some bits here or there, or I had a couple subs. I'm not really doing it, just I do it regardless because it's fun and I like
Hmm.
interacting with people and I like chatting with people. So
Very cool.
it's just a little hobby, and if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But
Right.
so yeah, so that's where I met my buddy Jeff, who has his own Twitch channel. It's run with turtles.
Right.
He's in the Mario community too as well, and that's how we hit it off. But yeah, man, and then over Christmas, my wife had a friend that she worked with that was a real super tech guy, and he built me a custom PC for about half the price. So that's what I have
Very,
now.
very cool. Yeah.
So yeah, everything's kind of taken off from there. But man, it's so fun. It's just streaming on Twitch. It's just a great platform to reach people from all around the world.
It
You know,
really is.
and be
Yeah.
able to interact with people, and not just for video games. I mean, like obviously Vince does it with his channel.
Right.
83 Weeks has their own Twitch channel where Eric will get on
Mhm.
and stream and all that. Like it's just a great platform. It's really the future of social media, honestly. For
I
people to get
agree.
out there and share their opinions. And there's not as many trolls on Twitch as there is like on Twitter
Yeah, you can have much more control over the chat rooms,
right,
which is nice.
right.
Yeah.
So and eventually we have a business plan. I can't really talk too much about it, but come April there's going to be a new podcast network starting up, which is going to have
Cool.
several podcasts involved, and I can't really talk much about it right now, but because of all this whole thing that happened with us, we're going to be part of that. So we're super
Very
super
cool.
excited, and we'll be doing the Patreon, we'll be doing Twitch streams on that too for our channel. So thanks,
Nice.
Matt Coon. I appreciate
Yeah.
you. You're probably going to get me to be able to work from home for a living and take care of my 6-month-old 6-month-old daughter and
Wonderful.
yeah.
Congratulations on
So
that.
yeah. So we'll be announcing more of that in the coming weeks. But yeah,
Cool.
I'm super excited. So
I'm glad to hear that. I'm
yeah.
definitely glad to hear that. I mean, do you play any other games besides Mario? When I think of your co-host name, I think of like the Turtles game and that awful late
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
running with
He.
turtles trying to
Yeah. I'm not even
deactivate the
sure.
bombs.
Right. Yeah, I remember that. And I'm not even sure what the origins of his name was. But yeah, I play. I like Splinter Cell. I'm a big Splinter Cell fan. I don't know if you
My
played any of
brother
those games.
loves those games.
Yep. Halo. I'm a big Halo fan from back in the day. Grand Theft Auto.
Oh,
Uh,
those games are hilarious.
yeah, and obviously like WWE 2K games and
Right.
I love sports games. I'll play NBA 2K and stuff like that. So I mostly play Mario Maker right now because it's hot and people like to watch it. But
Right.
every now and then I'll play something different just to mix it up. But yeah, I kind of like everything. I'm a big sports guy and I'm a big shooter, like first person shooter and stuff like that. So
Cool.
yeah.
Very cool. So what made you decide to like start into the podcasting aspect of things? Because you've done like 14 episodes, I believe, or 15.
Let's see. I think we just did 12, 12 and a
Okay,
half
my bad.
with the Grapplers interview. But yeah, we only started back in November. But yeah, my buddy Jeff and I just, we're just talking about, we found out, we were wrestling fans, and
Right.
I've always wanted to do a podcast. I just never really had. I'm kind of lazy. I'll admit I've been wanting to do this stuff for years and years and years, but
Right.
I'm just kind of a little bit lazy by nature. But all of a sudden one day I just felt like, hey, like we should do a podcast, and like it's real easy to do. We both have the recording equipment. I just signed up with Podbean, and we use that as our host, and we record every Wednesday night, and I do all the editing and put all the intros and outros and all the music in it, and then I upload it and promote it, and that's just how it started. It just out of a whim. It just felt like, hey, why not?
Right.
We got nothing else to do, so let's just start a podcast and see where it goes. And we have a small base of like 20, 30 people that we get download every week, and there's so many podcasts out there. It's so oversaturated that
it really is.
Any ham and egger with a microphone can make your own podcast. You know what I mean? It's like,
that's true.
Not to put anybody down, but I mean, like, literally anybody can just pay 15, 20, 30, whatever, but however much money it is to put their episode up on a server, and they give you a podcast host. So I mean, I'm sure you've searched wrestling before when you're listening to wrestling podcasts, and you get like 100 results. So
there's hundreds of thousands results. Exactly.
Honestly, yeah. So I mean, so we have a small core group, and that, I mean, we're fine with that. We get 15, 20 downloads overnight. We're like, hey, cool, we got 15. But ever since this whole Matt Coon thing blew up, like our numbers have doubled at least. So
awesome, yeah.
So yeah, we're pretty happy. We're pretty happy with that. But like I said, regardless of all this crap with Coon, we'd still be doing it every week because we love talking to each other and we love talking wrestling. So it's just yeah. But we just started out of the blue just for the hell of it, and look where we are now. I mean, it's amazing. This year is going to be ridiculous. I can't even wrap my head around it. This year is going to be a big year, and hopefully for all of us.
Right. I definitely hope so. I mean, there's a lot of good things going on for people. It's kind of funny. I kind of started like you did. Like, I know you mentioned this network thing. I mean, I was with Vince. I was just a guest for Vince on some of his stuff. And then people encouraged me to do my own thing. So I did my own thing under him. And then I joined Joe Feeney's Creative Control Network. And really, especially in like the last 2 months or so, that's really taken off for me and really seems to be building. And all the shows on that network are really gaining steam. And, Matt Coon's done a lot to, help us with our numbers because people want to hear. And I think especially people in the brand want to hear the different stories of people who have dealt with this guy and, the negativity. It's just crazy. But yeah, I mean, did you have to apply to be a Twitch affiliate? Because it said you're an affiliate right now. And I know there's a couple of different levels of that because Vince is like whatever is the ultimate level, the sponsor, partner, something like that.
Yeah, he's a partner. Pretty much all you got to do. I mean, once you create your account, there's different guidelines that Twitch sets. You have to have a certain amount of viewers per hour. You have to have a certain number of followers. I think it was 50 followers or so, or maybe 100. I don't remember. To where if you reach just certain milestones, let's say, then you can become an affiliate, which allows people to purchase their bits, which is just the Twitch virtual currency. Right. People purchase bits and they give them to you, and the streamers get 100% of those. And then you're also allowed to have people subscribe to your channel for $5 a month, or I think the tier 2 might be $10 a month, and there's a tier 3.
Yes, and then there's you can do the Amazon thing too.
Right.
With that.
With Amazon and Twitch Prime, you can subscribe to one channel for free. So, and all that money goes to the streamer. So it's a really good deal. So partner, I think, which is where Vince is. You have to have. I mean, I'm almost to that level, but it's going to take a while. Cool. You have to have. I want to say it's like 70 average viewers per hour or 100, whatever it is, and then you have to have a certain amount of followers. So. We'll get there eventually. I'm not too worried about it, but I'm proud to be an affiliate, and I'm proud to be on Twitch, and I'm proud to have a small little community that follows me. I got people from all around the world that come on the stream.
Oh yeah.
I got one guy who became a pretty good friend of mine that lives in the UK, and I stream at 7:00 Central every night, and to him it's like 12 o'clock, like midnight, 1 o'clock.
I think it's like 5 hours ahead. Yeah,
yeah.
that
So,
sounds about right.
he's up until like 3, 4 in the morning just watching
Very
these.
cool.
And he's there every single time, and he's interactive. So it's just amazing, like how many different people you can reach from all around the world. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's really, really cool.
Right. I know, like with me, I've gotten to become friends with people from Australia, Germany, the UK, Canada. There's this one individual I know from Singapore, then just people all over the US, a few people from Russia, even. I mean, it is amazing that technology has given us the chance to outreach and find friends all over the world now, utilizing technology.
Yep, it's amazing. It blows my mind. I can't even wrap my head around how huge it is. But I mean, like I try to remember back in the old days, like what it was like before cell phones and before email and all that. Like it's hard to
pals.
Yeah, and I mean it wasn't really that long of a time. Like I'm 40-something years old, and this really happened in the late 90s. I think when the internet
started with AIM, AOL, Windows 95, 98. Like chat rooms, message boards. That's where it all started, and then
it wasn't that long ago. I mean, just to see how far we've come since then it's ridiculous. I mean, just the fact that we can talk face to face on a video, conference or whatever. It's just
exactly.
It's amazing. Like I still can't. I don't even know how a fax machine works. You know what I mean? Like that stuff still boggles my mind. Like how can I put a piece of paper in this machine and somebody in China can get it and read it? Like to me, like. I still can't even wrap my head around the telephone and like all that stuff. So I mean, so the fact that we're sitting here talking to each other, watching each other, it's pretty awesome.
It really is. It really is. So, what are some of your, I guess, besides the Coon experience, some of your pros and cons with this whole experience with Twitch, podcast, social media? What are some of pros and cons besides just that one situation that we've covered?
It's the fact that anybody has a voice. Anybody can get on their phone or get on their computer and say whatever they want. They can say great things, but they can say hateful things, and they don't know anything about you. Some people just like to be jerks, and they just like to troll people. And a lot of people's feelings get hurt because they always say, "Well, this isn't real life." Well, no, it really is. You literally took the time to type something to me that was hateful and hurt my feelings for what? This is real life. I don't care if it's on the internet or whatever. Like we're all real people interacting with each other.
Exactly.
So I mean, the fact that anybody can get on there and just try to ruin your day or make your life miserable, that's the cons of it. But the pros obviously is being able to meet you, and being able to meet the grapplers or Mike Durbin or John Wangland, like all good people that
y'all great people,
that like retweeting and commenting and busting each other's balls and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like that like there's more good. The good outweighs the bad. There's obviously more good people than there are bad, and it is good to have the mute button or the block button. It does come in handy, but I still think it's a great platform to, number one, build your business.
Right.
Number two, just make new friends. If you're socially awkward, in real life situations, face to face with somebody, it's a lot easier to get on a computer or your phone and type and talk to somebody and
kind of 100%.
Right, and kind of break out of your shell, as opposed to dealing with people, face to face in your daily life. So it's a good confidence booster for people, and it's just a great way to reach people you would normally reach. I mean, from all around the globe, all around the planet. Right. It's a cool thing, and like even with like celebrities, like you can tweet, Stephen Amell from Arrow. And you might get a retweet. And that could be like the coolest thing of your life. Like, could be like the best thing that ever happened to you. And it's like, the fact that you can interact with anybody is pretty amazing. And, Facebook, God, Facebook's a little bit different. I started, Facebook 10 years or so ago to just keep track of my old friends and family and people from school and all that. But then, like when the last election came around, I'm fighting with my own family members because we don't have the same opinions or views. And like, I almost had to block some of my friends and family because like there's so much drama on it. So
politics are bad with social media mixed in.
Exactly. And like I said, anybody can get on there and type and anybody can have a voice and anybody can try to ruin your day. So yeah, that's the downside of social media. But the fact that I can connect with somebody I haven't seen in 30 years, like is pretty cool.
Very cool.
Like, that's just something you didn't have back in the day unless you went through, the phone book or tried to find somebody or called information with your house phone. Try to look up somebody's number. Right? But I mean, So there are definitely a lot of cons of social media, but without it, we probably wouldn't even be here right now. I mean, nobody would even know who we are. So
Yeah.
that's the greatest benefit of all, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think without social media, I mean, where would podcasting be? Even for the big names, they would just be like radio. And I don't think they would have the reach to promote the things they can promote. And like all these small wrestling promotions have been able to, use social media to get an audience that nobody would have heard of them if they tried to do the things they did 20, 25 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, look
Small
at AEW.
businesses.
AEW is
Yeah,
so huge right now because there's such a social media buzz. They haven't done anything yet.
yeah, they've
They've
had
literally
one
had
show. Yeah,
one show, even though it wasn't officially an AEW show. But I
right.
mean, like they have so much buzz around them just because of social media that people are expecting great things out of them, and I'm hoping that they do
Me
well.
too. I do
Competition,
too.
as you know, is great no matter what form of business you're in.
Yes, it
Yeah, and
is.
right now the WWE has been complacent for a long, long time.
Yeah,
Ever
they've
since
had a monopoly for 20
right,
years, since
exactly.
2001.
And there's nobody to challenge them and kick them in the ass and get their creative juices flowing. They're the biggest game in town. Everybody knows who they are worldwide. What reason do
Yes,
they have to? They're still going to have their core audience. What reason do they have to put out, compelling TV like the Attitude Era and every week? Like they have no reason to because no one's going to challenge them. TNA tried
exactly.
and they couldn't. ROH will never reach that level.
Right.
So there's this huge buzz around AEW right now, and I think there are people around WWE that might be a little bit nervous. Um, and they're like, you notice they started giving the Hawkins and Ryder a push. People that might be able to leave and go over there. They've given
Right.
the Revival the tag team titles. So they were vocally complaining about wanting to get out of their contracts. So
Yeah, and there was rumors they were going
right.
to.
So it seems like they're kind of giving these smaller guys a push just so they don't lose them, and they're trying to sign up as many indie stars as they can. So ROH doesn't take him, so AEW don't take him, and they're building that huge base in NXT, which is fine with me. But to
Yeah.
me, I want AEW to succeed. I hope they get a decent contract, TV contract.
Same here. I hope so.
Because obviously Impact is really good right now. If I don't know if you watch it anymore,
I
but
like Impact. That's one of the things like I enjoy most about Twitch when they stream Impact on
yeah,
Friday nights. I think that is one of the coolest things a wrestling promotion has done in a while.
yeah, exactly. And they're putting out a great product right now, but there's so
Hmm.
many people that don't know about it anymore because they're not on a major network. I mean, they're on
Yes,
the
they
the
need a good
Pursuit,
network.
they're on the Pursuit channel, which I didn't even know existed until I saw,
Yeah,
the
not
press
until
release.
not
Right.
until they were with Impact. I'm like, what's this?
But they're really putting out a great product right now. It's unfortunate
Yeah,
that not many people see them. I think, God, I'm sure they're well below 1 million viewers, each week at this point.
I
Which
think it's a couple. I think it's like maybe 100,000, 200,000, maybe not even that. I heard they lost a
it's
lot
that,
when they went
yeah,
from Top to Pursuit.
right.
And I
And
mean,
that's
they did
unfortunate
pretty good
because
for Twitch.
yeah, and it sucks because, and I'm sure they have a bad name around the industry. Like
Yeah,
you
they
think
did.
of you think of Impact, you think of TNA. It just kind of like, oh, yeah, those guys. Like they've been
Yeah,
around forever and they never really did anything. So hopefully AEW can be that. I don't want. I guess the second biggest
they
wrestling.
could be.
They'll never be bigger than WWE. I don't think anybody ever will, honestly. But
Right.
if they can light enough fire under Vince's ass, and give him stoke up his creative juices again, and kind of get him back into writing compelling TV, we could have a second. I wouldn't say Monday Night Wars. I don't know if they're going to go head to head, but we could at least see a revival in the wrestling world and
Right.
have two decent shows to watch going back and forth because
Right.
competition will get you from stop being complacent, and which they are. They're complacent right now, and they know
Mhm.
they're number one, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. So hopefully in the next year or two, we'll start seeing two great shows that are going back and forth trying to outdo each other because that was the best time, man. I mean, you remember
Yeah.
Nitro and
Switch back
Raw.
and forth. Switch
Oh,
back
all
and
the
forth.
time, yeah, because you
Yeah.
didn't want
What
to miss
happened?
you didn't want to miss a second. So
Yeah, nobody wanted to miss anything. I mean, if they had
yeah,
DVR back then, everybody would have watched, would have DVR'd both shows
yeah,
and then watched them both,
yeah,
back to back.
exactly. Yeah, but I just
Yeah,
remember going to my buddy's house down the street, and we would just, even though Raw was taped, the internet really wasn't around that much then, so you didn't have any
right.
spoilers, all that. But then you had Bischoff giving everybody spoilers, so like it was such a dick move. But I mean, like it was great by him because like you don't want to go over and see that. Here's what happened: so and so beat so and so, blah blah blah. and he'd run down the list, and I'm like, man, that's genius. That really was. But no, it was fun because you never knew what was going to happen. You never knew who was going to show up on Nitro.
Exactly.
When Lex Luger first showed up, I was like, holy crap, we didn't even know Lex Luger. He was just on WWE pay-per-view the night before. Now he shows up on Nitro, like, holy crap. And then Rick Rude shows up on the same show in 2 nights, and the whole NWO thing.
Crazy.
Scott Hall comes down, and I guess we kind of knew by then he was leaving the organization, but you didn't know if he was like a plant from WWE, like coming down there, and nobody knew. So that was like the greatest angle in the history of the business. But as always, it got out of control. They got too many members and split off into Wolfpack, and then they had all that crap, and they kind of lost sight of where they first started. But that initial first year from like, what was it, 96 to like 98?
June of 96 through after StarCast 97.
Yeah. So I mean,
it was that year.
Yeah, it was just such a good time in the business, and I hope that we'll see it again because everything is cyclical. Everything goes in cycles.
It does.
And it's been long enough. It's been 20-something years. So I think right now it's just going to be a big boom. And the indie circuit is really big right now. There's a lot of promotions pretty much anywhere you go. And they're all putting on great shows.
There are. So, I've seen some good indie shows on YouTube and Twitch and other places. Yeah.
So I mean, like, this is the right time for somebody to break out. And I think with Jericho and Omega and Cody and the Bucks, and Hangman Page, I mean, like, they have a pretty good crew. And if they can get somebody else, like if Ambrose really does leave and they could sign somebody like him, that's big. Like he's a big deal.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Or Batista. I saw Jericho tweeted out a picture with Batista the other day that they went to lunch together, and I'm like, is Jericho just trolling people, or is he just having lunch with his buddy? Is he having it's I love
Jericho's a genius, so it could be either way.
Yeah, and I'd like to believe if Jericho wouldn't have signed there just for the money. He must know a lot more than we do. Like, maybe he knows exactly what their TV deal is going to be and, what their marketing plan is going to be. Because I don't think he would just leave WWE to sign with some kind of indie group unless they're going to have a major impact. So, I'm hoping they do something big. I like the fact that Finn Balor tweets, a picture with him and Jericho or a picture with him and Pac, with Neville. I mean, like, that's just... It's cool stuff going back and forth. I want to see that again. I want to see them. Right. I want to see just go head to head and see who puts out the better show. Because it's good for everybody.
I think they should challenge SmackDown. That'd be the show to hit. Right. I would love to see that. Challenge SmackDown. I think that would be force SmackDown to be a better show.
Yeah, I agree. And I wish Raw, I think we all wish Raw would go back to 2 hours. I don't think that'll ever happen.
It's too long. I mean, and it sucks because back in the 90s, I used to wish it was 3 hours. During the height, and now it's like, this is awful. This is too long.
Because they're putting out a crap product. I mean, they have no character development. Their storylines are weak. They have 50-50 booking every week. Poor Elias. You never know if he's a face this week or if he's a heel the next week. And it's like they had gold in Elias.
Elias is awesome. Yeah,
he's fantastic. And they turned him face, and they didn't know what to do with him. They just I don't know. God forbid anything ever happens to Vince. I mean, it'll be a sad, sad day when he goes. I mean, he really is a genius, and we owe. Hell, we wouldn't even be here right now if it wasn't for Vince McMahon making wrestling a household name. So you have to give the devil his due for that. But man, if you watch NXT, it's just night and day. It's two completely different shows under the same umbrella. But if Triple H could just run the main rosters, God, it would be. I don't even know. I get goosebumps just thinking about the potential that they have in the future. As long as Stephanie doesn't get too involved, and that's what I'm worried about. Is we know Triple H can run a great product, but if Stephanie has her way, it's going to be the same old for the next 30, 40, 50 years until she. So I hope it doesn't come to that. But just the prospect of what's going to happen after Vince gets me pretty excited because I mean. NXT is fantastic. And I don't know how you feel about it, but every takeover is the best show of the year.
I've seen some good takeovers and some good NXT shows. I mean, I think it's a good product, and I like how it helps that it's not so long. It's not like a 6-hour pay-per-view, a 3-hour show on Wednesday night.
Right.
That definitely helps a lot, in my opinion. And they've got better character development. They've got just better everything. I mean, better presentation. I mean, Triple H and Shane would be perfect if they would let them run things. Eventually.
I agree.
And Shane's a good guy too.
Yeah, like the whole thing, like last year with Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, that was some of the best storylines I've ever seen in my almost 30 years, actually over 30 years of watching wrestling. Like, that was so compelling to me and just so much drama. I'm like, I pray we can get something like that in the main roster, because there's nothing even that can touch it. Like, they have a year-long feud, and I'm still wanting more. You know what I mean? Like, it was done so well, and not just that, but they have a really, really good crew down there with Adam Cole, and his group, and
the Undisputed Era.
Undisputed Era, and Aleister Black, and Velveteen Dream, and Gargano, and Ciampa. I mean, they have so many good stars there. As soon as they get called up to the main roster, Vince doesn't know what to do with them, and they just fall flat. He's ruined Bobby Roode. Great example. Right. He pretty much ruined Finn Balor for the most part. I mean, he ruined the Revival. The Revival had phenomenal tag team matches.
I thought they were really cool in NXT. Yeah, they're the ones that had that Paul, what's his name, the manager? I can't remember his name. Were they the ones, or was that the Authors of Pain?
That was the Authors of Pain, but they were pretty good too. Yeah, the Revival
with them is cool.
Right, the Revival had great matches with Ciampa and Gargano, the DIY.
Yes.
Just some of the best matches of the year, and as soon as they come up to the main roster, they just fall flat. And I don't know where the disconnect is between Vince and the younger talent. It's almost like he just doesn't know how to produce them, or doesn't have the right vision for them. How can him and Triple H have two different completely visions of the business is beyond me. I mean, I don't get it. So there's guys I want to see just stay in NXT and not come up to.
I've heard that. I've heard there's some people who would just want us to be happy to stay in NXT. I don't know if that's true, but they don't want their main roster burial.
Right. I mean, obviously they all want to be in WrestleMania, but yeah, right. I mean, they enjoy, perfecting their craft on NXT. And if they would just make NXT a viable third brand like they did when they had ECW, just have three different shows on the main networks, I think they could do a lot more with that. Like, if they were on USA Network every week, or one of their spin-off networks, that'd be great. Just get them off the network. Cool. Get them out, because not everybody has the network, but a lot of people have cable. So, if you put them, like when they have the Fox deal, if you just put NXT on Fox Sports 2 or Fox Sports 1, whatever the hell the channel is, a lot more people would see that product, and they'd be more inclined to watch it every week. So
100%.
And they can tour the country and do their house shows and all that. And I think it could be a really viable third brand for them, as opposed to Raw and SmackDown. And it's such a refreshing product to watch, because it's so completely different from the main shows. It's just by presentation, the work rate, the different style of matches they have, the storylines, the character development. It kind of reminds me of the old days, like Mid-South Wrestling and Mid-Atlantic, and a world class out of Texas. It's just like smaller arenas, darker, darkly lit crowd, and all that. And it's just it's kind of an old school product to me.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
So that's why I love it. And sometimes the matches get a little bit too ridiculous, like 35 false finishes, and everyone hits 17 finishers, and they keep kicking out, and nobody sells for anybody. But
yes, that is one of the small annoying aspects. Yes.
Right, but I don't know. There's just something about TakeOver that I look forward to more than the regular WWE pay-per-view sometimes, because even though they do, I call them spot monkeys, like Matt Hardy says, and they flip, flop, and fly everywhere, and nobody sells. But still, I'm still sucked in, and I still suspend my disbelief. And I remember what it was like when I was a kid, when I didn't know anything about wrestling, and I just watched these larger-than-life characters on TV, and I kind of lose myself, for 2 hours or so. And I don't get that with Raw and SmackDown anymore. I really don't.
I've tried, and it's boring. Even I usually just watch it on Hulu because it's condensed a little bit, and even that's hard to do. And that used a couple of years ago, that was okay, but it's just in the last 4 or 5 years, it's just gotten worse. It seems like, and just more boring. And they just seem to be, they just don't care.
Right? Do you still watch it currently?
I do watch it occasionally. I usually don't watch it every week. I mean, most of the time, like I said, I'll watch it on Hulu,
Right.
like, an episode once or twice a month just to see what's going on. Or, if an angle sounded interesting, like I'll usually listen to Vince Russo commentating on
Right.
Twitch, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
hilarious. And,
Yeah. It's so
and
funny watching him do watch-alongs of Raw and just like, yeah, how bored he is,
yeah,
just
he seems miserable.
right, right. He does seem miserable. He's like, man, this isn't what I grew up with, and it's
Yeah.
not. It's a different product. It does evolve with the times, and you either get on board with it or you get left behind. I mean,
Right.
they're going to continue to make their show regardless of if we watch or not. So,
Right.
if they lose you or me or somebody else, they're still going to have 5 or 10 other people, younger people that are going to watch it and be like, oh, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Mhm.
So, yeah. It's funny. Like Becky Lynch is hot right now, and
Yes.
I do enjoy what she's doing. They're kind of putting her in almost like an old Stone Cold role, where
That's what they're trying to do.
she's the
Yes.
anti-authority and she's the badass and she's going to take anybody down that stands in her way, and burn the place to the ground. And I kind of like that, especially from a woman's point of view. Like to have a woman doing it is pretty refreshing, and
That is pretty cool.
I really didn't like her when she first came in. I thought she was vanilla. I thought she was kind of bland.
Yeah,
I didn't even know really what her character was, but now, like, I'm a huge fan of hers. Like, I'm totally hooked with what she's doing. I think Charlotte Flair is great. I think Asuka's great.
Flair is great.
Becky and Sasha are great, and I like the Riot Squad. They have a lot of talented women that are getting put in the forefront now, where they weren't when we grew up. So it's kind of neat to see them have main event matches and stuff like that, and for the most part, they handle themselves pretty well. They hang, toe to toe with the.
They really put in a lot of work.
They really do.
Try hard. Yes, got to have respect for that, even if you don't care for how they do things. The only thing I like Becky, but the only thing I don't like is, and it's not her fault, is just how forced some of the creative seems to be on her. Right. If that makes sense.
I agree.
That's not her fault, and that's the same thing with a lot of people.
And I was worried that they might turn her into the next Roman Reigns, because they're kind of pushing us, pushing her down our throats and all that. And for the most part, everything they've done, the fans have reacted well to. So I mean, she's
fans aren't crapping on her right now.
Yeah, she's super popular right now, and everyone's pissed off that Vince took her out of the main event of WrestleMania. So
and we know she's going to be in it.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, that's what's so funny about it. Yeah,
we have 2 months until WrestleMania. You have to do something compelling, at least to have people to come back and watch next week. And I thought this past Monday was a great example of that, like leaving on a cliffhanger, like, what's going to happen. Tune in next week to see what Becky does and see if she goes on a rampage and just starts taking people down. So, kind of like Stone Cold used to. But yeah, I mean, I like it. And it's WrestleMania season. No matter what's going on, no matter how bad Raw or SmackDown might be, and SmackDown actually has been pretty good lately with Daniel Bryan being a heel and with AJ and all that. Like, it's
I
definitely
like that new belt. That's so cool.
I love that new belt. Yeah, it's a lot easier to watch, and I think their matches are a lot better. But still, like I said, it's WrestleMania season. Regardless of what's going on, I'm excited. It's the best time of year to be a wrestling fan.
Right, I agree with that. It's the Super Bowl of wrestling.
Yeah, right. Now, of course, it might be a little bit too long. I mean, Royal Rumble was what, like 6 hours altogether?
It seemed like it was so the pre-show started at 5, and then I think it finally ended at like what? Was it 12:15 or 11:15?
Something like that. Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, and since they put them on the network, they don't have to worry about pay-per-view replays, so they they own it. They can have as much time as they want. So they don't have to, which is good for the men and the women, because they don't have to cut any matches anymore. Yeah, there's nothing worse than telling Becky and Sasha and some of the other women 3-4 years ago that somebody went too long. Like I forgot who it was. I don't know if it was CM Punk and somebody else went too long, and we have to cut your match, and now you're not going to be on WrestleMania. Like, that's heartbreaking. But so now that they have the network, they don't have to do that. They can, the matches can be as long as they want. Everybody can get their shit in, and it could be a decent match, and that's great for the superstars. But for the people that are there in the audience, they're sitting there for 8 hours at a WrestleMania. Yeah, it
would be so draining,
and it does hurt some of the matches, because if you don't book the matches properly in the right order, the fans are gonna crap all over it. It's like this past Royal Rumble. Yes. Why would they put 2 World Championship matches back to back after one of the Rumbles the crowd completely crapped all over it.
Yes, they were bored.
The
I mean, they
AJ
were
and Daniel
dragged.
Bryan match, got crapped on because it was after the Women's Rumble, which was it was the women's, which was fantastic. And then you go to Daniel and AJ, which it should be a great match, and they're two of the best performers they've ever had, and the fans were just tired, like they were worn out. And by the time it got to them, it was too much, and I don't know why they didn't put that match before the Rumble. So you have to be wary of where your match placement is when you're booking a show and you're putting a card together, especially if you're going to have a 6, 7, 8 hour show, especially like WrestleMania is going to be coming up. We talked about in our podcast last night that Dave Meltzer had come up with an idea of splitting WrestleMania into 2 days on a weekend event.
I've heard that before. I mean, I could actually see, the point because of how draining it can be on the audience. I've heard that suggested a couple of times.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it could honestly work. The only issue with that is fans that attend, let's say, the Saturday show can't get tickets to the Sunday show, and there's a certain match or certain people they want to see, and now they can't go. And they spend all this money on this weekend. It's gonna rub a lot of people the wrong way. So I don't know how you would handle that situation. So
could they have a ticket that just works for both days, like StarCast has, the bracelet?
That's kind of what I was.
Days?
Yeah, that's a great idea, and that's something I didn't even think of. That's a really good idea. You could definitely do that. We also suggested maybe being in 2 different locations, like say if one city had a football arena and the other one had like a dome or a baseball stadium, and the other one had a football stadium, and you can stay in the same town or the same area. You could probably do that too, because you also have to think if they did that, you'd also have to think, well, there's 2 different production crews they're going to have. That's 2 different sets they're going to have. That's just logistically, you're going to spend a lot of money to do all that. But if it broke up the monotony of having to sit there for 7 or 8 hours, I'm open to any and all ideas to fix that, because when the crowd gets taken out of a match, regardless if the match is great or not, it could be a 5-star match. But if the crowd isn't behind it, watching it at home, it's just going to reflect. And you're like, oh God, like the crowd's just sitting on their hands. And
the crowd hates
kind of bored.
Bad.
Yeah. And it's funny how crowd reaction does have that much impact on whether you think a match is good or not.
Exactly.
Because I thought Dean and Seth had a pretty decent match at Survivor Series, but the crowd just was not into it. And they crapped all over it. And I'm like, God, the crowd's dead. These are 2 guys that are supposed to have this big heated rivalry, and Dean just turned on Seth, and the crowd doesn't give a crap. But if the crowd was behind it, it would have been one of the greatest matches ever. So it's just funny how we as fans can play a different role into whether or not a match is good or not.
Right. I saw Dean and Seth wrestle in West Virginia in a house show about a month ago. And I mean, the crowd just absolutely loved it, ate it all up, and they played to the crowd. And, Dean was being a really good heel, making fun of West Virginia, and Seth was just a really good baby face. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and, we got a good match and like a good atmosphere.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been watching wrestling?
I've been watching wrestling. Like, I remember watching a little bit here and there when I was a little kid, and I always liked Hogan, Savage, and Vader. I don't know why Vader sticks out, but he always did. And then I didn't watch it much. My parents tried to keep me from watching it. And then, like, when I would go over to my grandfather's house, he had Nitro on, and we were seeing, like the NWO, and I was like, oh, who are these guys? And then Hogan was a bad guy, and I'm like, oh, man, this is awesome. Hulk Hogan's a bad guy. And that got me back into it, like, in late 96, early 97. Cool. And then I've been a pretty consistent fan since, for the most part.
That's good. I thought Vader was great. He was such a big, believable bad guy, like just this huge monster that could just roll over anybody. And he was so stiff in the ring that everything he did was believable, and that's what made him a great character, because he was literally beating the crap out of people. Like Mick Foley says, it was the toughest matches he ever had. So I mean, Sting hated wrestling, and Flair hated wrestling, but I mean, behind the scenes, he's a great guy. But when he gets in the ring, he'll knock the crap out of you. So, so I could see why you were drawn to him back in the day, because he really was like a perfect heel, like just this giant monster that would just take anybody out.
Exactly.
And he's a great match for Hogan, because Hogan being the sympathetic babyface, how's he going to beat this giant monster? It was perfect. So, so I'm guessing you grew up in the South, so you were more of a WCW guy when you were a kid.
Mainly, yes, yes.
Yeah.
I've lived most of my life in West Virginia, and yeah, I mean WCW always appealed to me more. And then
Right.
I loved them both during the Attitude Era years.
Right. So yeah, I grew up in Connecticut, so I was a WWF guy growing up as a kid.
WWF,
So,
yeah,
and it wasn't until we got cable and we saw the NWA on TBS, then I was like, oh wow, there's more than just Hulk Hogan and these guys. Like there's a whole new
right,
different kind of wrestling. And watching Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat go back and forth, and the Rock and Roll Express and the Road Warriors and all these guys, like wow, like this is like totally different than what I'm watching. These cartoon characters on WWF, and like this is just a whole new world to me. So,
right.
I was lucky to have both shows growing up, and I started watching in '88, and I got hooked. I saw SummerSlam '88, and it was Hulk Hogan and Macho Man against Andre the Giant and Ted DiBiase, and
Oh, that's awesome.
the Mega Powers against the Mega Bucks, and it was just that hooked me from there. So ever since then, whether it's good or bad or indifferent, I still watch it every week.
Very
It's
cool.
always going to be in my blood, and my wife doesn't want me to have our daughter watch wrestling, but I'll feel bad if she doesn't grow up watching it, and we can go to shows together and all that. Like I mean that's
Right.
something that I'd like to share with her, but I can see where my wife is coming from too. It's if we ever get like the Attitude Era stuff again, kids definitely should not be watching that. Like, you
Definitely
have like
not.
6-year-old kids going into school telling their friends to suck it, you know what I mean, and pointing to their
Yes.
crotch. So I mean, yeah, that was not the greatest choice for parents to probably bring their kids to those shows or watch that. But
Exactly.
that's kind of why I love John Cena so much, and like him or hate him, as a performer, yeah, he can get kind of bland. He has the same old shtick, all the time. But so did Hulk Hogan. I mean, Hulk
Hmm.
Hogan
It works.
he wasn't a great technical wrestler either, but he knew how to
Not at
work the
all.
crowd. And
Exactly.
can you honestly say that you've ever really seen a horrible, like just 4-star stinker match from John Cena? No, you
No,
can't because he never has. And
exactly.
whether it
He's
be,
not that type of wrestler.
right, he just, for whatever reason, whenever he wrestles, he just has a decent match, and he doesn't even have to do much. And Hogan never had to do much. It's just as long as you know how to work the crowd and have him on the palm of your hands, love him or hate him, John Cena gets a reaction. Love or hate Roman
Yes.
Reigns, he still gets a
He gets
reaction.
the reactions.
That's
Yes.
that's all that counts. I mean, bad press is good press, no matter what. So,
Exactly.
but John is so good with the kids. He's so great with charity.
Yes, I really like that
You can
about
hate
him.
his character, in the ring, but he's a hard working dude. Nobody worked harder during his run than John Cena did. I mean, he literally gave up his life, he gave up his family to be that guy, to be the face of the
Right.
franchise, doing the charity events, doing the promos, 5 o'clock in the morning, getting up to go to the news station, doing interviews, getting in the
Right.
gym, working out 2-3 times a day. I mean, The Rock is the same way. Their work ethic
Well,
is
yeah.
ridiculous. Like them or hate
Insane.
them, it's just they are great in what they do, and they're polarizing people. And John Cena especially is polarizing, but he was the face of the franchise, from the mid to late 2000s,
Right.
and they don't have another guy that can do that. I think John Cena is going to be the last big, guy like Hulk Hogan, like The Rock, like Stone
Like
Cold.
Stone Cold.
I don't see anyone good enough to step up and willing to put in that work. Maybe Seth Rollins could be that guy. I mean, he's pretty intense. He's a CrossFit guy. He works pretty
Hmm.
hard. He loves wrestling. He eats, sleeps, and breathes wrestling. I hope he can stay healthy enough for at least another 5 or 10 years. But he's not getting any younger either. And I just,
I know. There's so
you know
many
what I
of
mean?
these
Like,
guys are injury prone.
yeah, injury prone, or they're in their mid to late 30s, and
Yeah.
I haven't seen anybody that's willing to step up and take the ball and be the next John Cena. And the
Right.
product is going to suffer because of it.
Right. I think so. I mean, I think it already has been suffering slowly the last several
Right.
years. Among
Right.
other things, they just don't have those characters like Cena. You said Cena's the last one that can be larger than the WWE, larger
Yep.
than the product, and
Yep.
has like cross appeal, audience appeal to like other things. He's doing his movies, and
Absolutely.
he's doing
Yeah.
all this stuff with kids, and they don't have anybody else like who's the next big movie star like him and The Rock, and the household name like Hulk Hogan.
Yep. And they tried to do that with Roman, and it fell flat because
Yeah,
we felt like it was being forced down on us. When he almost won the Royal Rumble as a heel that one year, the fans went crazy. And I forgot who was in the ring with it. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was Batista.
Was that I think that was the year Batista won.
It might have been, yeah.
I think so.
And Roman came close, and the fans are going crazy. And I think Vince noticed that, and he's like, "Oh crap, we might have something with this guy." And then he took that and ran with it. And then people are like, "Okay, well, we like him, but I don't think we're ready for that yet." And Vince just kind of force fed us Roman Reigns winning everything, and he became the next, John Cena. But not in a good way.
Yes, a very polarizing, almost toxic way for the show.
Right, which is sad because Joe is a hard worker and he's a really good dude.
He seems like it.
I hate the fact that he ended up getting his leukemia back. Like
I know, that's so sad.
It is really sad, and I have heard that he's doing a lot better now. And then from what his friends have said, he's doing well and he's working out again. He's going to be in the Hobbs and Shaw movie with The Rock, the spinoff.
I heard he got a movie role, which is great.
Yeah, he's going to be in that. So it seems like he's doing well. He may come back this year. And I think, honestly, I hate to say it, getting cancer was probably the best thing for him. As horrible as that is to say, that might actually...
Kind of ironic how life works.
Exactly. Because, when he made the announcement, people are like, oh, damn, like, I'm sorry, dude. We'll put the fact that we hate your character aside. Like, that's bad.
Yeah.
The whole crowd was just kind of somber and hush. It's fun. So when he comes back, if he's booked the right way, he should be a huge babyface just because of the fact. So hopefully they'll treat that with kid gloves and not force feeding. Let the crowd cheer for him organically.
Right.
Don't put him over every single match. Just build a compelling story. Like the stuff he did with Braun was great. They had a 4, 5, 6 month feud.
Yeah, I thought
it was fantastic.
Yeah, I love Braun. Braun's cool.
Yeah, and God, have they booked him into a crap hole?
He's had terrible booking. I mean, and he's another one who I've heard Disco say he's a really nice guy behind the scenes.
Super nice guy. I think WWE put out a documentary on their YouTube page about him, like a 15-20 minute video of him with his family and where he came from and all that, and showing
North Carolina.
Showing him going back home, being with his friends, his coaches and teachers talk about him. They're all say he's a cool kid and all that, and he does seem like a really, really good guy. But man, they really had something huge with him, and for whatever reason, I don't know what happened. They just what is it with Brock Lesnar that he has to be over every single match? To put Braun against him and lose 2 or 3 times, that killed Braun's character. Killed it.
It really did. It really made it. It doesn't make him look believable as this monster character at all. It took all the monster out of him.
When you think Brock is going to lose, he doesn't. And it boggles my mind. Vince, and I don't know. I can't put it into words. I don't understand what the allure of it, from Vince's point of view is. Yeah, he's a big name. He's a big kid. He's been around a long time. He's a good wrestler. I mean, he's safe with people. But he's kind of a jerk. And in real life, he's kind of a jerk. He doesn't care about the business. He doesn't care. He just wants to make money.
He's just going to make as much money as he can for as little work as he can get in his contract. The fewest amount of dates for the most money.
And he's still being put over everybody. And it's man, Braun could have been the next big thing. He would have been the next big thing like Brock was when Brock first came in.
Yeah.
But he could have been huge, and they just killed him dead. He has no steam and no momentum at all. Now he's been put in 6-man matches, and he's fighting Baron Corbin this Sunday at the Elimination Chamber. Who cares? I could care less at this point now. And it's so unfortunate because, man, the crowd was so over for that.
The crowd loved him.
And God, I don't know. I don't know where they dropped the ball. They just booked him into a corner at Royal Rumble because everyone knew that he was going to lose, so they had to pull him from the match, and that was the nail in his coffin, so to speak, character wise, and it's unfortunate. So and there's rumors that Brock was going to go to the UFC this year. I don't think he is.
I hear that rumor every year.
Every year,
AEW could be a possibility for Brock.
But no, I don't think so. I think he's going to milk this WWE cow as cash cow as long as he can, and why not? I mean, more power to him.
And he keeps getting to say he's the champ. Yeah,
right. And Paul is his legitimate manager for real. He
handles I know he's they're really legit good friends. He's been with him forever, just like he's good friends with Punk.
Yep. Yep, exactly. So, and Paul is one of the most brilliant guys in wrestling. You know, he's going to take care of Brock as much as he can and try to get him as much money as he can. He's a smart business dude. And why not? He was very smart to hitch his wagon to the Brock Lesnar train. So,
right.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. WrestleMania is going to be big. I kind of hope Dean Ambrose hangs around. I've heard that some of this might be a work.
I've heard that too. I mean, you never know. It seems weird that they would announce that like 4 months in advance.
Yeah, like I don't think they've ever really done that with anybody before.
I don't ever remember seeing that before.
Right. So I'm hopefully it's a work and he sticks around. He's doing some of the best work he's ever done in his career right now, honestly. I think his promos are fantastic. I think his ring work has been great. But then again, they've been 50-50 booking him with EC3. So, you know, 1 week he wins, the next week, you know, Ethan wins. It's just, I hate to see him go out this way, but, you know, it is what it is. I'd like to see him at least stick around till Roman comes back. And we never really got that whole big Shield run because, you know, somebody would get hurt or, you know, Roman got sick. And then I think, or even before he had cancer, I think he had some kind of like a viral flu or something like that, or meningitis or something that kept him out. So it's like we never got that big, like, huge Shield run, you know, reunion run. And
a lot of bad luck with people's health and stuff.
Unfortunately, yeah. So, but you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for the future of wrestling. You know, I think, like I said, if AEW is able to make some waves, we'll see a better product out of everybody. So that's all. That's all we can ask for as wrestling fans is good. Yeah. Good shows to watch every week. You can't ask for anything else.
Right. I agree with that. So, Rob, we're going to wrap up. Where can people find you? Let's plug to make sure you get more followers, supporters on your channels and your platforms to prove our friend wrong.
I appreciate that. You can find me on at RadRobGaming on Twitter and Instagram. Also, I have to be remiss that my partner isn't here tonight, Jeff. So he had another commitment to make. But you can follow him at Run with Turtles on Twitter. Both of our Twitch channels are there. It's twitch.tv/RadRobGaming, and his is twitch.tv/Run with Turtles. We keep it easy. We have, you know, we keep everything the same brand name, you know, Rad Rob Gaming and Run with Turtles. And the name of our podcast is the Rad Turtles Wrestling Podcast. You can find that on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Podbean, anywhere you pretty much get your podcasts. We're going to be on it, and it launches every Thursday morning. So that's pretty much where you can find us. And I appreciate you having me on the show. I had a blast. I really love your show, and I hope I hope we all continue to grow. You know, as time goes on. But yeah, I really appreciate you having me. I had a real good time on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and you coming on, and I will definitely try to work on getting your co-host on sometime in the future, and we will take it from there. I want to thank everybody for listening to this episode of the freaking Hambone Show. I hope everybody has a great night. Y'all can find me at HB_presents or HB_show. Feel free to give me a 5-star review on iTunes. You all have a great night. Thanks for listening.